can see the cruise liners in the Circular Quay precinct at the moment. That is the Harbour Bridge entrance on the right-hand side, and the Opera House is just off to the left-hand side, so the Manly Ferry is closing in. We'll be back to see all of that in just a moment. Well, it's become a familiar tune now, and the one that subs up the moment perfectly. Shortly, we'll speak to the man behind it, but first, here's Carry the Flame.
All your life you have known that the day will come when all of your dreams come true. See the colors they fly in a southern sky. You know now it's up to you, and the spirit is calling you now. As you reach for the stars, they're within your heart. You know you'll make it through. You got it all in your hands, and you understand. The fire burns inside of you, and you'll shine like a light in the world for all to see. Oh yeah, you never let nothing hold you back. Got to carry the flame.
John Stevens and friends with that magnificent tribute, Carry the Flame. And the flame has been carried on board the Manly Ferry to Circular Quay. It is docking at the moment and soon will be moved around into the hands of Samantha Riley to go up the Sydney Opera House. The Manly Ferry just docking in at Circular Quay. Amazing scenes. And the man behind the song is right beside me right now, John Stevens. An amazing, amazing piece of music there. You must be very proud of how that's come up and how it's been accepted around Australia.
Absolutely, and thank you. Yeah, I mean, when it was originally written, you know, from 8 months ago to now, where I actually get to carry the torch, and I've just run it to Ronga Zoo, and I never expected any of that, so really feeling the spirit, and, you know, that's what encapsulates in the song, you know.
You really, even without having carried the torch, you captured it beautifully in the song. Is it what you imagined to actually carry the torch? Is that what you thought it would be, or was it more?
And that's more, much more. You know, I actually didn't really get the full brunt of the feeling until today when they lit the torch. John Bertram lit it off, you know, and off I ran, and that's when I really felt it. It was amazing, and I'm very, very proud of the way the song's been received. Absolutely.
When you put it together, did you ever imagine that it would reach this height, that people would be humming it around the corridors at work, that the nation would pick it up, and this would be the song that identified with the flame as well as it has?
Well, initially, you know, you're just writing a song. There was hundreds.
Lantern has moved within Circular Quay. It is now moving up so that Samantha Riley can take it up to the sails of the Opera House. Everybody's still standing around here, though. They just want to soak up more and more of it. They can't seem to get enough. And there's Zali. Hello. She's absolutely elated. She's just gorgeous.
Monique, thank you very much. Zali Stegel there with her Olympic torch. John Stevens has got one just like it. Now, John, have you actually, will you hold on to that one? Is that it?
I will. In fact, this is my one, and my daughter, I managed to prize it out of her hands. She's 9 years old, and my son Levi, he's 7, and they both get to take it to school for show and tell. And
some show and tell.
Absolutely. So, you know, that's great. I'm really, really happy for them.
And what about afterwards? Got a special spot in mind for that?
I'll have to think of some, but absolutely, of course, this is a moment in history.
Of Sydney, the weather not perfect, bit of cloud about, but still holding out for tonight's opening ceremony. The Olympic flame has now arrived at Circular Quay. It'll slowly make its way to the Opera House, where Samantha Riley will carry it to the top of the sails, and you'll of course see that all right here on 7. John Williamson, one thing we've seen many times is torchbearers hugging each other when they hand on the flame. Well, it came naturally to Don and Margie McIntyre, who ran this morning through Sydney's north. But as John Collis reports, this is a couple used to doing things together.
Of all things promised when the McIntyres tied the knot, they forgot about the rose garden.
So the last 5 months have been, I don't know, fun.
This first family holiday was to blame. A year alone in the Antarctic freezer, half of that in winter darkness.
The sun's coming back! Yes!
To the dangers left by earlier sightseers, they just can't stay away.
We've found these 3 kerosene tins from Mawson's expedition and a mummified dog, which has been here for 80-odd years.
Nora Heights, but they did manage to separate for the 3 minutes it took to complete each of their legs. Both agreed the feeling was just as good as being surrounded by ice.
What amazing pictures. You're getting excited yet?
Oh, how can you not be? It is absolutely fantastic. And, you know, people like John Stevens here who've carried the flame today, and you know, he's come with that beautiful song. He's done it, and he says the song that we think is so fantastic just doesn't even capture the moment. It's great.
And we can tell you now that the flame is in a lantern on board a police boat, and it's making its way around towards the Opera House. You can see it there towards the Opera House, where of course Samantha Riley will take possession and scale those magnificent sails of the Sydney Opera House. We'll be back with Follow the Flame after the break. Looking at live pictures from the heart of Sydney, the weather holding up just fine for tonight's opening ceremony, and we can tell you the flame is in a lantern on board a police boat, making its way round to the Opera House from Circular Quay. And from there, Samantha Riley will scale the Opera House sails and stand at the top. And what a great sight that's going to be. The Olympic Flames had a lot of distance to cover on the final day of the torch relay. It's been over the Harbour Bridge, up to the northern beaches and back again before beginning its journey upriver. Chris Reason catches up.
Bondi's had its turn, and today Sydney's other most famous beach, Manly, did its best to outdo them. The numbers staggering. They crammed the Pine-lined beaches, hung from the rooftops and streetlights, there to watch multiple world motorcycle champion Wayne Gardner. He moved at a pace a little slower than he's used to.
Fantastic. What an honour.
Just savouring the moment. He was taking the torch toward its final community celebration in this 100-day marathon. He lit the path while thousands lined it. Waiting among them, Australia's kayak champion, Shelley Oates-Wilder. She'll march in the opening ceremony tonight, but the local girl said this would be hard to beat. She ran a corridor of surf lifesavers, all the clubs of the northern beaches represented before her. Her roar matched by the crowd. She ran the final steps to the cauldron that would clock the total distance now travelled at 65,269 kilometres. Shelley told us she had 2 Olympic dreams. This moment completed one. Next, a shot at gold in 2 weeks' time.
They say that once you're an Olympic athlete, you are the inspiration of the nation. But I'll tell you what, looking at every one of your faces today, you are the inspiration for us. And thank you very much.
For the torch relay organisers, the journey was nearing an end. A tearful moment. They're going to miss it. A tribute from the boss.
So I hope you'll indulge me this one time in being able to say to my team, congratulations. Thanks for bringing it home, team. And thank you, everyone, today.
Sevens and Sanders also took a beach run. The surf was great, but finally it moved to smoother waters. Its first harbour cruise by Waterways boat to Taronga Park Zoo. Taking the torch on its wildlife tour, America's Cup winner John Bertram, skipper of Australia 2, giving our native animals a quick glimpse. Manly couldn't get enough of the torch, and the torch couldn't get enough of it, returning there by water police launch.
George, it's been an incredible afternoon down here. We're just watching that torch come from Manly. I think half of Manly must have jumped on board boats and followed along behind it. Let's just spin around and have a quick look at the flotilla that followed the Collaroy as it came in. We've just seen the water police vessel just a minute or two ago head round to the steps, the Man of War steps, with that flame, and I guess in just a couple of minutes' time we're going to see Sam Riley emerge at the top of the Opera House carrying that flame for what's going to be a magical moment. Mark?
Chris Reason, thank you very much. Well, whether a sporting legend, a famous entertainer or the local farmer, one thing was the same about all the torchbearers. Every one of them shone.
You can give your life, or you can lose your soul. You can bang your head, or you can drown in a hole. Nothing lasts forever, but you can try. Look around you, everyone you see, everyone you know is gonna shine. You can bang your head, or you can drown in a hole. Nothing lasts forever, but you can try. Well, look around you, everyone you see, everyone you know is gonna shine. You say that you never had a month, nobody needs you, so cry, so cry, so cry. You believe that life runs by just to deceive you. I'll buy your time, won't buy your time. You're getting old, and the longer you chase, the slower your pain will grow, it'll grow, it'll grow. You can close your eyes and hope that when you open them, you've got a brand new life. You can give your life, or you can lose your soul. You
Australia. We're in the Olympic City. You're watching live pictures of Circular Quay, where the focus remains, at least for now. Soon we'll see the flame escorted to the top of the Opera House sails. From there, it's back on a boat, bound for Homebush and the Olympic Games opening ceremony. And Seven's Chris Reason is down there amongst it all. Chris, you've got a guest.
Mark, I have indeed. There's thousands of people waiting down here around the steps of the Opera House, and among them, of course, a large contingent of international media, all waiting to see Sam Riley pop up in a couple of minutes' time at the top of the Opera House, that 76 metres up there. And amongst that media, one of the journalists from TV Globo, David Pressas, who has one of the most extraordinarily large audiences in the world. But David, you're going live with this. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Who's up to watch it?
Well, it's actually 4 a.m. in the morning, and we've got about 4 a.m. in the morning on Friday, and we've got 16 million viewers, the population, I'd say, of your entire country, watching this event right now.
That's extraordinary. Is that the interest that the torch has generated, or is that just the audience getting up ready to watch the opening ceremony?
I think it's a little bit of both, actually.
Fantastic. Following the Olympics, I mean, is your audience obsessed by sport? They love it? Is that sort of...
Well, yes, I think so. I think that we have a good possibility of winning the gold in the female volleyball, beach volleyball. Maybe some medals in athletics, certainly in the horse venue, and something in swimming, hopefully.
Tell us, you've been here, for some time now. You've had a bit of a chance to get the feel for how Australia's handling the games. They're about to start tomorrow. Your assessment at this early stage, are we handling it well?
I think you guys are doing a great job. The city's beautiful. Everything seems to be working. A little bit of problems with the buses, though, but I think everybody is having problems with the transportation. But I think things are working out fine.
What do you predict for the next couple of weeks? Good television pictures?
Excellent television pictures. I mean, you guys are doing a great job.
Okay. David, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Mark, back to you in the studio.
Chris Reason, thank you very much for your great work. What an amazing 100 days we've all been experiencing.
But tomorrow, we start a new count.
We certainly do.
The Olympic Games. And before that, you're in for a very big night with the opening ceremony right here on 7.
Thank you for being with us. Please enjoy Australia's games.
Bye-bye.
Historic moment for Sydney. But we begin with the torch. After its 100-day journey around Australia, the flame is just one short ferry ride from the Olympic Stadium where the cauldron will be lit. Chris Reason, the relay has reached the Opera House.
And it has indeed. The torch is inside the Opera House as we speak, safely in the hands of Sam Riley. And in just a couple of minutes' time, she should emerge up the top of the very highest sail of the house, Australia's favourite building. What a climax to what's been an extraordinary day.
The last of 100 days, but the big send-off from Town Hall didn't go quite as planned. A wrong turn for Deputy Lord Mayor Lucy Turnbull and no flame. A 5-minute wait with the family dog and she was off. Through the heart of the Olympic City. A date with the famous coat hanger was next, one of the most spectacular sights of the relay.
How are you, Mr. Sato? How are you feeling?
Good.
Exciting time.
Then to the man the thousands were waiting for. Golfing great Greg Norman sharing his moment with fans. The crowd's all there to witness Norman's passing to our greatest para-Olympian, Louise Savage. Louise normally does 400 metres in 55 seconds. Today, she took her time. Over the Roseville Bridge heading north, more adoring fans for Dick Smith, the philanthropist taking the flame on a new adventure. Through the bushland of the Wakehurst Parkway, an appropriate place for the two Woodies. Tennis greats Todd Woodbridge and Mark Woodford serving up one of their last doubles. Adventurers Margie and Don McIntyre aren't used to so many people. They shared the cold isolation of the Antarctic for a year.
I always wanted Margie to light my fire, and it won't be long.
A kiss for good luck and a flame of love on its way to Manly.
Bondi's had its turn, and today Sydney's other most famous beach, Manly, did its best to outdo them. The numbers staggering. They crammed the Pine Line beaches, hung from the rooftops and streetlights, there to watch multiple world motorcycle champion Wayne Gardner. He lit the path while thousands lined it. Waiting among them, Australia's kayak champion, Shelley Oates-Wilder. She'll march in the opening ceremony tonight, but the local girl said this would be hard to beat. She ran a corridor of surf lifesavers that would clock the total distance now travelled at 65,269 kilometres.
They say that once you're an Olympic athlete, you are the inspiration of the nation. But I'll tell you what, looking at every one of your faces today, you are the inspiration for us.
For the torch relay organisers, the journey was nearing an end.
Congratulations. Thanks for bringing it home, team.
Sevens and Sanders also took a beach run. The surf was great, but finally it moved to smoother waters. Its first harbour cruise by Waterways boat to Taronga Park Zoo. Taking the torch on its wildlife tour, America's Cup winner John Bertram, skipper of Australia 2, giving our native animals a quick glimpse. Manly couldn't get enough of the torch, and the torch couldn't get enough of it, returning there by Water Police launch. Next, far from the snowy slopes she's used to, Zali Steggall took the flame along the pathway of Olympians, and it couldn't come to Manly without taking the ferry. No more spectacular way to finish a 100-day odyssey that's touched every community in the country.
Ross, we are watching and waiting. Any second now we should see Sam Riley emerge from her tallest peak, some 67 metres in the air. When it happens, we'll let you know about it.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Well, last night's torch journey through the city attracted as many as 1 million people. The crowds were overwhelming as the flame sparked a Sydney celebration that will burn long in everyone's memories.
Everywhere this torch travels, the crowds it draws are extraordinary, but the numbers for its arrival in the heart of Sydney were breathtaking. The torch made its way toward the Opera House in the hands of Olympic hopeful Melinda Gainsford-Taylor. Melinda's approach, music to the ears of world-renowned Andrea Bocelli. The blind singer took the flame as thousands cheered their appreciation. The two then joined by a legendary singer of our own, Olivia Newton-John. Olivia would run the torch around the house and into the hands of Pat Rafter. They lit not only his torch, but the giant rings behind them on the bridge and the fireworks on either pylon.
The Olympic rings are alight on the Harbour Bridge. What a sight, Australia. You are watching history. This is a truly magnificent moment. The Olympic Games are back in Australia.
Everybody overwhelmed.
Amazing, amazing.
For Rafter 2, a lifetime highlight.
Feels really good, yeah. Excellent. Hope I get another chance to do it.
Too much for former Olympian and Channel 7 presenter Joanna Griggs. Her raw emotions, perhaps the way many felt that night. Later, the flame would reach an older swimming generation. First, Dawn Fraser, the icon parting crowds down George Street, before she reached her 1956 teammate, Murray Rose. The final run belonged to Kari Webb, the Australian who's world's #1 female golfer. She reached Town Hall and the waiting mayor, Frank Sartor. But that final moment teased out by speeches. The impatient crowd were chanting, "Light it." Eventually, they got their way. Chris Reason, 7 News.
Sam Riley's big moment at the Opera House has arrived. Chris Reason, what's happening?
And incredible. I think that we're just hearing that she's there. Let's spin the camera around and have a look. There she is. giving us a wave from the very top, and everybody down here is waving back. What a fantastic sight. Sam Riley, it took a bit longer than we thought. She had to climb those stairs all the way to the top. They had to put a special safety harness onto her for those last final few steps to get out on that very precarious position. She's standing there now. I can't quite see that famous Sam Riley smile, but I'm sure it's beaming away. I can see the torch. I'm sure you can too. What must she feel like? She was telling us... There she is. Extraordinary. This girl's got guts. She told us earlier she was so disappointed about missing out on her place in the Olympic team. But this really is an amazing consolation prize. Look at her up there, waving away. She said she had no fear of heights. There's no problem for her being up there. It's an incredible sight, and the helicopter spinning around her, capturing this moment. As I mentioned earlier too, this picture is going live around the world to millions and millions of people. From here, just quickly, Sam's going to take it back down. It'll get on that River Cat, and it's going to head up to Homebush Bay for the lighting of the cauldron. Ross, we'd better give it back to you so you can get back on with the news.
A truly magical moment. Chris Reason, thank you very much.
Fantastic. Well, Sydney's transport system has coped with its first true Olympic test. Thousands crowded buses and trains to Olympic Park for tonight's opening ceremony with no major delays.
All across the city, families are dressing up for the big night. Face paint, green and gold, or the Aussie flag, the dress code.
Full of excitement and full of pride.
It's been a long time coming, but it's really looking forward to it.
Just after lunch, thousands of spectators began heading to Olympic Park. A bus every 5 minutes guaranteed no one would be late. Even the youngest knew where they were going.
The opening ceremony.
On the trains, no opening night nerves, just plenty of people in party mode.
God, I've waited so long to go. I'm so excited.
The troubles with official Olympic transport are also being tackled.
Got lost yet?
Twice, yeah.
More than 600 people have now volunteered to help the buses navigate city streets.
They said training today and then tomorrow start off, so straight into the thick of things.
The Army has also answered the call. 10 of their drivers joined the bus fleet today. More are on the way. Some bus drivers who quit over bad conditions are also returning. 100 are expected back behind the wheel after gaining a pay rise. Others are still trying to turn a quick dollar. Scalpers today targeted queues at the so-called box office. Some were so insistent to sell their tickets, police told them to leave. Darren Curtis, 7 News.
Just over 50 minutes from now, the world will be watching the Olympic Stadium for the opening ceremony. Paul Marshall's just been inside for the final preparations.
We've been waiting for this moment for 7 years now, and ceremonies director Rick Birch has been planning tonight's welcome for almost as long. 12,000 performers out here tonight, another 5,000 people you won't see behind the scenes. 3.5 billion people watching on television. Now, the weather is okay. I've been to the rehearsal. It is spectacular. Don't miss it. The crowd starting to arrive now.
Here they come, and here we go. Riding in on the trains and buses, all with the same thoughts. How good will it be, and who will light the cauldron?
I'd say Betty Cuthbert will light it.
It's got to be Betty Cuthbert.
And where are you going to be tonight? What will you be doing?
Just sitting in the stand. That's all I'm saying. I won't be at the cauldron.
In the athletes' village, there's some talk.
Speculation within the village seems to centre around one of two people.
Shirley Strickland or Shane Gould. Rick Birch is responsible for tonight's opening ceremony. Who lights the cauldron wasn't his decision, but does he know?
Question, the answer is yes. And
the decision was made by Olympics Minister Michael Knight and Australian Olympic Committee President John Coates.
The final irreversible decision that John and I made was very late last night.
The cauldron and whoever lights it will shine, but there will be another star tonight. 13-year-old Nikki Webster, chosen by artistic director David Atkins.
Well, it was down to three girls, and we were all sitting in a room, and then David Atkins came in, and then he just told us who was the one, and we were like,
Around the world, 3.5 billion people will see Nikki, and they will love her. She's part of a uniquely Australian ceremony.
Tonight's opening ceremony has to stand at this particular time and place, and hopefully it will be a fine and true portrait of Australia at this time.
The world is about to know us. And in about half an hour from now, our athletes will be driven from the village to the Superdome, which is just across the road from the main stadium, to watch the start of the ceremony on the big screen. Then 520 of them who are marching will come into the stadium for the parade of athletes. And in a special honour tonight, those Australian athletes who have been to 3 or more Olympics will have the honour of leading the Australian team into the stadium.
Great night. Coming up in 7 News, a final message from Olympic chiefs.
And let's take another look at Sam Riley's torch climb.
I call upon the youth of the world to assemble 4 years from now at Sydney, Australia, to celebrate with us the Games of the 27th Olympiad.
It'd have to be the biggest thing, you know, for a sports person.
You're going to love the opening ceremonies. It's outstanding. And we're going to make this Olympic Games one you'll never forget.
Kind of like lifted this country up.
What we've tried to do as a creative team is generate a sense of pride in us as a people.
USA #1.
Heaps of gold medals from Australia.
I'll certainly be carrying this flag for me dad.
The atmosphere will be fantastic. The crowd will be going berserk.
Well, it's going to be huge.
I'm doing this because I believe that I can win.
So I'm going to have a good time trying to win.
It's an amazing feeling, something that I'm never going to forget.
In the Olympics is fantastic, but to do it in front of your home crowd is just sensational.
It's an exceptional experience, very, very good for the country, and I'm very proud to be Australian today.
Enjoy the games, enjoy the games. But Sydney is the most beautiful city in the world.
Juan Antonio Samaranch said, "We'll see you in Sydney in 4 years' time." And we thought it would take forever. It seems such a long time, but the wait has been worth it. And now, the wait is over. Indeed, this is not just Sydney's, but Australia's night. No matter where we are, tonight we're all together, sharing the excitement, sharing the nerves, the anticipation of what lies ahead. There's been so much talk about who and how the cauldron will be lit. It's a moment that will stand one of life's great tests, the test of time. And what to look forward to for this country. when it joins with the rest of the world in the Parade of Nations. That moment when Australia marches into the stadium. For so many of our athletes, dreams that began in their backyard are about to be fulfilled in our backyard. And the greats of the world are here, and none greater than Muhammad Ali, who lit the cauldron 4 years ago in Atlanta. The greatest is with us tonight. Chelsea Clinton, the daughter of the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, who officially opened the Olympics in Atlanta just 4 years ago. Michael Knight, President of SOCOG. Gough Whitlam, who was there 7 years ago in Monaco when the announcement was made. Dawn Fraser won Antonio Samaranch, who's her date for tonight. Sir William and Lady Dean and John Coates. And Sir John Gorton, another Prime Minister from the past. Princess Anne, Her Royal Highness, who's been an Olympic competitor and also a member of the International Olympic Committee. So they have come from far and wide. The greats, the famous, the privileged, and the ordinary folk like you and me who are looking so forward to tonight. The Australian athletes have gathered in the village. They are on their way to the Superdome where they'll wait for the Parade of Nations. And Neil Kearney is in the village with them.
Well, the Aussie water polo team are not quite in their outfits yet, but Daniel Marsden, what is that thing on your head?
Well, being the captain of the Aussie Sharks, I thought I'd better lead the shark attack. So I got the shark fin mohawk, as you can see, on the top of my head as a bit of a rev up for the boys and myself.
And would you say it's a good look?
My mother probably would say no, not quite, but I can live with myself looking in the mirror every morning. Yeah.
Good luck to them, the Australian water polo team, who will join about 500 people that are marching, 500 great athletes who will march for Australia tonight. It's all in front of our water polo team, but it's all behind Shirley Delahunty. 7 Olympic medals, 3 of them gold in that period from 1948 right through to 1956, and Shirley is with Victoria Carthew.
One of our shining lights in 56. This is certainly a different perspective for you, isn't it, these games?
Certainly is. It's a lot later than 56, but it's all the buzz is here.
How's the emotion? You said you're feeling pretty excited.
Yes, I always feel very nervous in the countdown to an Olympics, whether I'm competing or not. And I must say a sense of nervousness is permeating me, but I'm absolutely looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
An Australian legend. Well, if the overwhelming response of the last 100 days is any indication, then these games will live with us for the rest of our lives. They say there were 1 million people in the streets of Sydney last night. That's 1 in every 4 in the streets. And just a short while ago, Sam Riley scaling the heights of one of Australia's most famous landmarks, the Opera House. And the relay continues. It's on its way to its final destination. Youngsters right now are about to hand the torch over for the final time in what's been a wonderful journey. A journey that began in Uluru. Celebrities, Olivia Newton-John, who'll be taking part in tonight's opening ceremony. She'll be singing with John Farnham. Tina Arena, who has a key part in tonight's ceremony. Vanessa Amorosi, what a great night for her as well, and for Julie Anthony, who will be singing the national anthem. So the performers have arrived, Human Nature here as well. And they are ready for what is going to be a great occasion. There are 110,000 people in the stadium here tonight. Adjacent to the stadium, Homebush Green is not quite as busy, but nearly it is overflowing. There are up to 40,000 people there right now, and they can see the pictures coming from the Olympic Stadium. So a great night here in Homebush, about 150,000 people all up. The Prime Minister of Australia is here tonight, John Howard, and Mike Smithson is with him.
Mr. Howard, what range of emotions does the Prime Minister experience on a night like tonight?
Well, a tremendous pride that my country, our country, is hosting this magnificent event. It's a wonderful occasion for all Australians, but it's also a wonderful occasion for the world, because the Olympic Games brings young men and women from 4 corners of the world together. May the Games be contested vigorously and strongly, but in a true spirit of sportsmanship. And to those 628 wonderful young men and women representing Australia, you'll have 19 million Aussies cheering their heads off for you.
Could Australia be better showcased than tonight, right here?
Well, it's certainly marvellous and it's great, and I hope the whole country enjoys it. Good luck.
Here. Well, Mike Whitney has got one of the best seats in the house tonight. He has arrived early, like everybody else, and he has got the perfect view. And not only have you got a great seat, Mike, you've also got some goodies with you.
I have, Bruce. Here I am. You might find it hard to see. There I am now. Everybody's got a little glow bite like this, and I want to show you what's in there. A souvenir, an open ceremony souvenir booklet, some socks that you can put on your hands and wave like an Aussie. But these are the real deal, mate. Have a look at this. Everybody's going to have one of those on their wrist together, and a torch to wave. And when this whole place lights up, Bruce, with either the torch or the wristband, it is going to be absolutely sensational. But I have got one of the best seats in the house, mate, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Mike, what about the people around you at the moment? Just the excitement and the conversation that is carrying on around you? I think we might have lost Mike there because it is loud in there, I can tell you for sure. Well, John Farnham is also on his way to the Olympic Stadium tonight, and Mike Smithson's caught up with him.
Johnny, how are you, mate? Patrick Benzic. Travelling incognito. Well, it's just another gig with 4 billion people.
That's all right. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll put them back on there. It's going to be interesting. I don't think I've ever been so toey. Really? I get pretty toey when I work, but this one's got me, I think.
It's got him.
I'm trying not to drop the blonde, though. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about dropping the other singer, because at one of the rehearsals, unfortunately, I let it go, and the ground's very uneven, and she tripped. Ooh. So don't blame me for dropping the blonde.
What are you going to do to calm down just before it?
Oh, I'll be absolutely drunk. No, I'm okay. No, with power. No, I don't know. I mean, what I normally do is just spend a few minutes on my own, have a few breaths, and just take it easy. It's interesting out the back there because they've got all these guys that are giving us cues, and the very first rehearsal we were out there 10 minutes before we were due to sing. And it's nippy out there as well. Olivia's wearing, a handkerchief. I've got a suit on, so it's not so bad for me, but you kind of lose any impact that might be there. So we've been trying to pare that down a little bit. So I'll be nervously trying to get this guy to just wait. So we'll see what happens.
Good on you, mate. Everyone will be behind you. We're going to have a big time.
Oh, it's going to be a big party, I tell you. I might have a beer after this, I think.
Good on you, John, who will be one of the stars tonight. It will be a big party. Speaking of stars, there's a young Australian girl who's going to be a superstar after tonight, and her name is Nikki Webster.
In part of the Olympics.
Is this one of the proudest moments that you think someone could have?
Yes, definitely.
What do you think it means for Australia and Australians?
I think it's a great thing for the Australians, and hopefully they'll all enjoy it.
And what about those nerves? You're under control?
Yes, I have not nerves. I'm just so excited and overwhelmed.
What do you think you'll be thinking when the big show starts? What will be going through your mind?
All the things through my mind will be hope everybody likes it, and just that I'll be so excited. And
well, you have a great night and the very best of luck.
Thank you very much.
As we look at these great shots down into Olympic Stadium here, and the Australian athletes are on their way to the Superdome, where, as we said, they will wait before the Parade of Nations. What a night it is for them, for their families, and for the whole of Australia.
Don't give up now. We're proud of who you are. Don't give up. You know it's never been easy. Don't give up, 'cause I believe there's a place where we belong.
phone is your playing field. Connect to the world. Access the web. You have the power to do it all, right?
Barcelona Olympics, Jose Ramon Diaz. They have the job to take the pictures all around the world tonight from the Olympic Stadium. And the man who's the director of ceremonies is Rick Birch, as we see our Prime Minister, John Howard, and his wife. But Rick Birch, the director of ceremonies, is with Kylie Gillies.
4 billion people, near enough, will be sitting in their lounge rooms watching. Where will you be, Rick, during the ceremony?
I'd love to be in my lounge room watching, but I'm going to be in the control room watching some of the billions of people in the stadium.
Calling directions?
No, it's almost too late for me. David will be calling some directions, but really it's in the hands of the stage managers and the performers. There's nothing much I can do. Sitting up in the control room, if a dancer is out of place, wearing the wrong costume, by the time I get down on the field, it's too late.
I know it's a waste of time even asking you about the cauldron, so I won't. As they say in showbiz, good luck. Break a leg.
Thanks very much.
As the tension and atmosphere continues to build here, and Vanessa Amorosi is now with Linley Frame.
Pretty much, how are you feeling?
Good. Feeling okay, actually. We've had rehearsals, so there's nothing to be worried about, and you know, it's went all fine in we've done the two rehearsals. Yeah, so there's nothing really to be worried about. Everything should be fine.
What does it mean to you to be performing here tonight at the opening ceremony?
This will be the biggest thing I'll ever do, I reckon. You can't top worldwide audience type of thing. So this certainly will be one of the Kodak moments.
Have a great time.
Thanks.
Well, we've talked about who'll light the cauldron, but what about how? If who's been the biggest question, how has been the biggest tease. Remember that Rick Birch was behind the torch in Barcelona, so he set the standard. So how can he top that? Does he want to, or will there be a message? The longer this night evolves, the more secrets will be revealed and the more history will be written. We're going to the Super Down now. Pat Welsh is with Kieran Perkins.
Tomorrow will tell. I think
500 Aussies marching tonight. It's our biggest team ever, and Australia is the biggest team in the Games, and one whose path to this Games we've followed closely for years now. Kieran Perkins, how big a moment is this for you?
Oh, you can't put it in words. You know, it's my third Olympics. It's the first time I'll have marched an opening ceremony, and it's happening at home. So, you know, it's going to be incredible, and really, you know, I can't put it into words otherwise.
Kieran, this is something you vowed to do no matter what, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. You know, just being at home in Australia, having the opportunity, and as I said, you know, I didn't get to march in the opening ceremony in my first 2 Olympics. So, you know, it was important to me to be involved, just because I know I won't get the chance again.
Now, marching's fine, but are you worried about getting wet?
No, not at all. This cloud's just to keep all the warmth in, so it's a nice warm night. We don't have to worry about any rain.
Well, I don't need to say it, Kieran, but enjoy the night.
I certainly will, no doubt. Thank you.
Good on you.
I jumped the gun a bit there. Kieran's on his way to the Superdome, and Belinda Emmett in the huge crowd here. Wonderful scenes here. So Pat Welsh is not too far from here. The John Williamson entertaining the 110,000 capacity crowd. It's a sea of colour here and bright lights and cameras going off left, right and centre as we get close to that moment that we have waited such a long time for. Now we're off to the Superdome. I jumped the gun a bit early, Paddy, and Pat's there with the Australian team captain, the man who's carrying the flag, Andrew Gaze.
I would imagine you would be the proudest man in this magnificent arena tonight.
It is. It's just full of excitement, a lot of fun and great anticipation. Can't wait to get out there.
A sea of colour, and when the Aussies arrived, there was just a great cheer from everyone. That's the Olympic feel, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think there's a real spirit out there, and you certainly notice it in the village. And, you know, you come in here in the bus with all the athletes and that, and you start to think, well, hang on, I'm actually carrying the flag, sort of steering the ship. It's really humbling and great experience. I'm really looking forward to it.
Nearly every sport gets a start tomorrow, and yet there's still about 500 Aussies marching, so they all want to be part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, in Atlanta, we had a big decision because we played 10 o'clock the next morning, and the coaches actually said no, but the players said, no, hang on, we need to do this because we really think it'll be a positive thing for us. And a lot of the case here is that you draw a lot of energy out of this, a lot of spirit and pride, and I think that it can only be a good thing.
Now, there's a lot of your teammates who couldn't make it, obviously. They're sitting back at the village watching this. What would you like to say to them?
Just like to say that, you know, we're all behind them. They're still very much a part of it, and we'll be marching around for them, and, you know, we respect their decision, and hopefully it'll bring back some success tomorrow.
Now, there's an air of mystery with the arrival of the Aussies because you're all wearing these plastic ponchos. Why?
Well, twofold. One, it's looked a little bit overcast out there, but no, we just wanted to make sure we unveiled it right at the last moment so the whole Australia gets to see us, and I'm sure they'll be impressed with our get-up. It's a little bit different, but I think it's pretty good.
We wish you the very best of luck, not only tonight, but right the way through the games, Andrew Gaze. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
And just behind me, some of the proudest men and women here, the 4 members of the International Olympic athletes, and that is the team from East Timor.
Well, they'll get a mighty roar. They're coming in just before the Australians tonight. So Andrew Gaze getting ready as we are here, and in just moments the rest of the world will join us for live coverage of this wonderful occasion. And for the next 16 days, every news service, newspaper, radio, cable and conversation will highlight these games in this country. What an honour. There's hardly any other event that commands such attention and can put a city and country on such a pedestal. That's what the Olympics does. It is the greatest show on earth. 3.7 billion people have joined us. That's more than 3 billion. And for the first time tonight, they are seeing live pictures of Sydney Harbour, the bridge and the Opera House. How the cauldron will be lit, but I wonder who's going to light it. It's been the biggest question, hasn't it, since Nova Peris-Kneebone became the first runner. Well, just 2 people, maybe now 3 know the answer. We know that Michael Knight knows, and we know that John Coates knows. And by now, somebody else has been told. The person, or maybe people, who've been given one of the country's greatest honours. I wonder where we go for a hint. We had a 19-year-old world record holder in Melbourne in 1956, Ron Clark. Another teenager in Tokyo in 1964 who was born on the very same day of the atom bomb in Hiroshima. In Barcelona, it was an archer. That's still fresh in our minds. Atlanta, it was the great one, Muhammad Ali. So who and how? But there is just the excitement you would have expected in this stadium. The anticipation is as you would imagine. Bob Carr and John Howard together. A mighty roar continues to crescend around the stadium. It's been 7 years, but at times it seemed like an eternity. It's a marvellous night in Sydney. It's been the most superb, brilliant build-up to this night. And we're almost there. None of us have to wait any longer. Tonight, a kaleidoscope of cultures, our cultures, and Gary Wilkinson and Ernie Dingo will describe them. And they'll be joined by Sandy Roberts and me for a night of mystery, intrigue, and a night of surprises. An emotional night, we're sure. The beauty of tonight is that it's for all of us. Whether you're a corporate guest in Sydney, a miner from Kalgoorlie who scraped every cent together to grab a seat high in the stands, or a mum and dad in Townsville sitting at home with the kids. Tonight, we will share this together.